Hi. Boy, do I have something for you this week, because I want to be talking about the first ever in the history of the world Bi Pride celebration. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to do it as soon as I mention this week's video is sponsored by what? Of course, it's my bisexual or bi pins. But more about that at the end of the video. Until then, let's talk about this very, very, very exciting thing that happened last weekend. Okay, so last weekend, which last week was Bi Pride Week, and last weekend, like I said, was the first ever Bi Pride celebration. And for the convenience of this video, I'm going to refer to like Pride as queer pride, to differentiate that from Bi Pride. So it was last weekend, and I have to say, I am not a queer pride sort of guy. Like, I don't consider myself queer. I don't call myself queer. I don't like it when people call me queer. I'm a bisexual. There's a big difference between the two, and I don't identify that way. So the idea of people participating in queer pride was like alien to me. I never understood it. I didn't get it. Why would people do it? I didn't see the enjoyment of it. I've gone to a couple of queer pride celebrations, around the country. And it's nice. It was nice talking to everyone who came over. I thought it was wonderful. But the idea that, being at the festival and the idea of the march, I just never got it. So when I was thinking about going to this thing last weekend, a lot of me was going, what am I going to get from this? How am I going to respond to this? Because I'm not into queer pride, but on top of that, I'm not a protest sort of guy, not in person. I'm not a parade sort of guy. So there was nothing about this that I was looking forward to, but I was going because, you gotta go, right? First time ever, you gotta go. So I went, and as soon as I stepped there, and I saw people starting to gather with their oversized bi flags and their bi clothing and their bi makeup on their face, I was just like, oh my God, I get it. I get it. For the first time, I feel like, yes, I'm here with this group of people who are just like me, who support me, and we're about to go and make an impression on the world. It was wonderful. I took video, and I gotta say, as I was recording it, the long line of people as we were marching through West Hollywood was amazing. I even got the chance to interview a few people.
But this is definitely a long time coming. I'm super excited for the turnout, for everyone out here. The energy is really, really high.
Awesome, I like it.
Eye-opening.
It is.
It's so important. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's like we should have done this 20 years ago.
And all of it was just mind-blowing. The chanting, magic! The camaraderie.
It's a sense of community that I'm not used to actually physically seeing.
And afterwards we had a sort of a celebration kind of thing where we had performers and we all got a chance to interact with one another. It was so fantastic. And then of course there was the after party, and the after party was fun. We went to a local bar that, it had both male go-go dancers and female go-go dancers. So I like to think of them as kind of like a bi bar. Met up with a couple of people from the march, and I gotta say, went to another bar after that, and we danced for literally 3 hours. And there was a group of us from the parade, and all of us met somebody. So yet another wonderful reason to go to Pride, which I never would have realized, is that, my God, you can meet people at Pride. Now granted, there's a lot of people who just came to the march and stuff who, were coupled up and stuff like that. But yes, the idea that you can meet people at Pride, I get it now. I get all of it now. And the entire night, the entire day and night was just so fantastic. And it was so wonderful. And I highly hope that you all because, this is the first one in the history of the world, if there's not one in your city, which of course there isn't because first one, that you, if you can, come to Los Angeles next year and experience this. With the clothing company, I get to do like super cool things like the Bisexual Representation Awards. And let me tell you, next year, I can guarantee you that we are going to do something which will make coming to next year's Bi Pride something that you will not want to forget. I will promise you that this 1 year in advance, that is going to happen, because this has got to be a bigger thing, and you all, wherever you are watching this from, have to come to Los Angeles and you have to experience this, because it is unlike anything you've ever experienced in your life. Now, I'm sure there's a number of you thinking, my God, this is wonderful. How can we get this to happen in your city, right? Okay, this is all new, first time ever. I don't have a good answer for you for that. But what I can do is I can give you a history of how this happened in Los Angeles, because it's kind of interesting, and you can see how, like, it didn't just happen one day. It just happened. Like, this is a long time in coming, and it's an interesting history. So, briefly stating, there's a person in Los Angeles whose name is Mimi Huang, and she is she's a psychologist and she's an educator. She works at universities, just teaching psychology, but also she does bisexual education and does seminars and stuff like that. Anyway, so about, and don't quote me on this, about 12, 15 years ago, she wanted to be around more bi people. So she put an article, like a little personal ads thing in a local paper saying that if you are bisexual and you'd like to meet other bisexuals, come to this coffee shop. And that's what she did the 12, 15 years ago, because, this was before the internet. This was before texting, all that stuff. That's what she did. And she went to the coffee shop and she sat and she waited. Every week she would post it. Every week she would sit and wait until eventually more and more people came. And after a while, she decided to give the group a name. She called it AmBi. And from then, it slowly, but surely grew and grew until now. AmBi has locations not only around Los Angeles, in Los Angeles, but around the West Coast, around the United States, and literally around the world. In fact, the person who came the furthest for the Pride event came from South Africa, because now there's a bi group in South Africa. And honestly, if you are looking to have a bi group in the city that you are, they do chapters. So if you just go to the AmBi website, which I think is AmBi, it's on the screen right now. If you go there, you'll see a link where you can start up a chapter where you are. And the group, now granted, you're not going to get much money, but they have financing. So, they will make it capable for the leaders of the group to do some cool things in your area for bisexuals. They don't have a ton of money, but they do have backing. So I recommend that if you want a group in your area, you don't already have one, check out AmBi, because they will help you start one. Anyway, so this is how AmBi started, but that's a side story. So we skip ahead a couple of years to about 5 years ago, when AmBi decided, it was a large group of, at this point it's like 1,000 or more people in the group, and they decided that they wanted to participate in the Los Angeles Queer Pride March. So they put together a float, and they did it. And in that first year, the parade goes through West Hollywood, which is the gay part of town. And during that first march, they were booed. That's right. The people standing and watching the bisexuals go by booed them. Not everyone, but they were there and they were heard, and it was disgusting. But that was 5 years ago, and then they kept doing it. They kept doing it, and eventually they went from being booed to being awarded Best Float. And, 1 year they had the Try Guys, which I helped organize, coming to Bi Pride with them, to experience Pride for the first time with them. And then they had the people from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was there. So yeah, they kept growing and growing. So now we jump across from another aspect, which is West Hollywood. So West Hollywood is like it's an actual incorporated city. So they have a mayor And they are the gay part of town. Like, there's no question that West Hollywood is a gay part of town. West Hollywood is its own city. So they get the chance to, like, they host the Pride celebration each year in June. They do a lot of gay festivals and stuff like that. But for years, they completely resisted. They have an advisory board, and they completely resisted having any bisexuals on the board. So they had gay people on the board, they had lesbians on the board, they had trans people on the board. And they refused to add any bisexuals to the board. Why? I don't know. But another group by the name of BiNet USA decided that this can't happen anymore, and they organized a protest against the city of West Hollywood. And very quickly after that, the city, realizing how disgusting they were being, backed down and decided to add bisexuals to the advisory board. And that was like 3 years ago. Last year, because of the advisors being put on the board, because of other things, and because of a very outspoken bisexual who was involved with, the government of West Hollywood, they decided to name, during the Bisexual Awareness Week, a day to celebrate bisexuality. And that was last year. But this year, to kick it up a notch, thanks to the person who was a vocal bisexual on the board in West Hollywood, that person did a lot of work, a lot of work of convincing West Hollywood that they weren't doing enough, and convincing them that it was time that they put the effort to create their bisexual bi pride. So once they can, that bisexual convinced the board, West Hollywood, the city of West Hollywood, decided to reach out to a couple of groups, one of them being AmBi, another being HRC, which is Human Rights Campaign, which is a group for bisexuals, lesbians, gay bisexuals, lesbians, and trans people for the right, who they protest for, or they fight for the rights of those people, and also the ACLU, which is an organization that fights for civil liberties in the United States. So they contacted those three groups and tried to make it happen, but AmBi took the lead on this because they already had, at this point, 3,000 members, and they organized, with the help of everyone else in the city of West Hollywood, the first ever Bi Pride event in the world. Thanks to the help of West Hollywood, thanks to the help of AmBi, thanks to the help of years of activism by BiNet USA, by others in Los Angeles, we have a historic event. And it was fan-frickin-tastic. So if you would like to experience what it's like to be surrounded by other bisexuals, to march with other bisexuals, to feel the camaraderie of being around other bisexuals, check out next year's event, because it's going to happen again. It's going to happen every year from now on. And the world has changed. I hope you enjoyed hearing about that. And if that gives you a sense of pride, then I suggest check out my bisexual pride pins. I have this, it's the word pride. I have the heart pin, which I'm sure you've seen in other videos. I even have the rainbow colors in the pride and also the heart that you can check out as well. But of course, you know that I have the t-shirts on Amazon. I have the pop sockets for your phone. And of course, my bisexual romances, all of which are for 99 cents and all of which you can get on Amazon. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do any of those things, or you can give this video a thumbs up, and also you can subscribe. I do many videos on the bisexual topic. I try to do them every Sunday, but if you'd like to know when a new video comes out, you have to click on that subscribe button and then click on the bell, and by doing so, you'll be telling YouTube that you'd like to know when a new video comes out. And until the next video, stay cooler, my prideful, pride bisexual friends. Stay cooler. Bye.